Hi guys, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Intermezzo here after a couple of weeks off, mainly because nothing really was happening on the homebrew front. Sitting out on the screen porch on a beautiful afternoon, Wednesday, enjoying the John Palmer 11s that was kegged last week and has come out mighty fine. Happy with it. A couple of tweaks I made to it worked out quite well. Did wind up doing some brewing. Monday was a brew day. I had intended to do a video, all the different steps start to finish, but after I got started a friend of mine came by. Always nice to have an extra pair of hands, but we wound up kibitzing and I never wound up doing a complete video. But we do have some video here from the very beginning of the process. We also have some video showing the results, and we'll take a break from the helicopter and show you the beginning of the brew day on Monday. Okay, it's a Monday. Today is a brew day. The dog is away at daycare. I just milled the grain. This is a Northern Brewer recipe kit, all grain recipe kit for Surly Bender. This is hard to say a clone because it's a recipe that they worked out with the brewers at Surly. So this should come out close to what Bender is, and I like Bender. So this is also the largest grain billet I've done in all grain. This is 13 pounds roughly of grain. I milled it this morning in my new Frankenstein mill, and I got my yeast pack smacked. I didn't do a yeast starter because I had the pack in the front came partially frozen, and I had another one that came in the same shipment, and I smacked it and it worked. So I figured, well, rather than make a yeast starter, I'll just use the one that came frozen and the one that I bought to replace it. And I've got my strike water heating over there on the stove. So we're going to get ready to dough in as soon as that gets up to temperature. So just a quick note, today I'm using the boil kettle to heat up my strike water. Ordinarily I use the smaller pot over to the right to do the strike water and the sparge water, but my grain bill is so large today, I would need, even at 1 1/4 quarts per pound, I would need over 4 gallons of strike water, and the pot on the right can only hold 4 gallons, so I figured at least for the strike water I'll use the boil kettle and heat I may do batch sparging in 2 batches and heat the sparge water on the smaller pot on the right. The mystery of the day is, where is the 4th bolt that holds the mill onto the base? I'm hoping it didn't work its way loose and fall into my grain. That would piss me off. So we did solve the mystery of the missing bolt. The missing bolt actually was in the grain. It had somehow worked its way loose while I was using the electric drill to run the Frankenstein mill. We found it before it got into the mash tun, so I was happy about that. Brew day was pretty uneventful. Everything went according to plan. And here's just a brief look at the result in the fermenter. Well, as luck would have it, a friend of mine stopped by and we wound up kibitzing through the entire day, and I didn't wind up documenting the whole brew process, but there's the aerated wort. Looks pretty good. I did not use all of the second runnings, so I have a little bit less of a higher gravity wort, so not necessarily a bad thing. The second running started to look a little bit thin, so I didn't use them all. And the good thing about kibitzing with a friend is, well, we got a chance to drink some pretty good beer. This is Spencer beer from Spencer, Massachusetts. It's the only approved Trappist Monastery in the U.S. making beer, and I tell you something, they are doing a pretty good job. So in addition to the brew day on Monday, also got some work done out in the garage on the brewery. I had solicited some input on what height to cut the table down to so I could use it for brewing. You'll see here in the video that I finally figured out the height. I'm an engineer, so I tend to overanalyze things. And I got the legs cut off and got the table set up out in the garage, and you'll see that. Okay, we're out in the garage, and that's the table that I'm going to be using as a brew stand. You can see from the remainder of the leg that's on the top how much I cut it off. I determined the proper height would be where I can get my arm down into the bottom of my existing mash tun, but high enough that I can drain by gravity into the tallest vessel that I have, which is currently a converted Sankey keg. So that's how I determine the table height. And then I mentioned earlier installing an electrical outlet, and there it is. So I got a table, I got a hood, don't have the hood connected to anything yet. I got the ductwork. I'm going to be doing that probably over the weekend. So, plans for this weekend. I still got the cider that I brewed a few weeks ago. It's been clearing up. I think over the weekend I may put that in a keg and start to carbonate it. Also finalizing my recipe for the SJ Pour Challenge. I'm brewing something along a Belgian line, wanting to use Belgian yeast. And the weather, as nice as it is right now, still isn't warm enough to use ambient temperature to ferment at about 75 degrees, which is where I want to be. So I'm going to be working this weekend on a little bit of a makeshift warming chamber so I can keep my Belgian at the right temperature to get the flavors that I want. So we'll be doing that. We'll probably do some more work in the brewery. I did order a couple of chugger pumps. I've got a lot of silicone tubing and quick disconnects and stuff coming. Not going to use any of that equipment for the SJ Pour Challenge. I want to go with the tried and true, what I've been using. I know how it works. I'm not wanting to make any changes to my routine for the challenge. It's a big enough change for me to be bottling again. I haven't bottled. I've been kegging everything. So I'm going to have to go back to bottling to get the beers ready for mailing off for the competition. So until next week, I'm sure we'll have something to talk about. Cheers and happy Homebrew Wednesday.